Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons. This is the post-game of Ripened Tingle's Balloon Trip of Love, and we're on page 13, because we have cleanup to do on page 13. And page 13 is here and now, and here's a guy with a telescope.
There's no face at all.
So just to confirm where we are in the timeline. So the world thereafter of page 13.
That's just...
So the castle doesn't have a face anymore because at the end of page 13, all of our friends were presumed dead. The king's face has collapsed. Yeah. Now you might think, well, why are we doing page 13's, like, world thereafter before doing page 12's world thereafter? Well, we could do page 12 now, it's just a bit of an investment, so, just trust me on this one, this makes more sense to me personally.
Call a lawyer, we've been tricked. Those pranks were pretty enjoyable, though.
Well, you are terrible, and you'll get what you deserve.
Entrance to the castle is forbidden. There seems to have been some commotion. A drunken quarrel, maybe.
I cannot swallow my throat like I did the first time I voiced Beardguard, or Budgood if you will. But yes, page 13's world thereafter, we are expressly, explicitly, and another word beginning with X, stuck outside the castle. If you want to go inside the castle, you want page 12 for that. Or page 14, but page 14 is just the ball. There is no world thereafter for page 14, I forget if I ever actually spelled that out. There is still the newspapers here, we already have one. Who needs 3? Well, the first one I broke it. For anyone out there who remembers bad lip reading and is in the market for buying 2 big industrial windmills, there's an ass!
That's your butt!
Thank you, Peridot. Oh, I can't write articles like that. Hello. Have you read today's my paper? Apparently so. Well, yes, we have, but even the papers ourselves told us that. So you've read it. It's all because I jumped to conclusions with that article. Oh, I need to apologize to Tingle. Well, guess who's here? Game, please don't put the blue worm in front of me but like, this makes it look like we can shove a worm up his butt. Mercifully, no Bingus. I don't know how I got there. You can only see a pair of pants. I can see a butt. But we can't do much with you right now, so let's just head in to the inn. Sure, let's make it nice and loud, because I don't think I did that last time. Hello. I'll go through all of the variants of hello.
The pranksters have been caught.
Yes, we saw that.
Those hoodlums are banned from the inn.
It's what they deserve. Now then, Childy, is that fish and chips or an omurice? It is hard to tell at this pixel fidelity.
Do you know, mister, on nights with clear weather like this, you can see a lucky star. Then maybe...
Sip. Well, we did see something through the telescope upstairs that I said we wouldn't be able to do anything with for the time being, so please elaborate.
That star is the home of the inventor, they say. It has robots and electric tools, all created by the inventor. However...
Stop cutting yourself off with drink! Wow, okay, sentences that make a weird amount of sense, but please finish your thought before you finish your food.
If you make a prayer to the machine star, a silver angel will descend and fulfill your wish.
But... Child, you are aggravating! Have you finished your sippy yet?
Why are you looking at me like that? You doubt that it's true?
No, we've seen it.
Very well, I'll explain. The star that fulfills our wishes flashes red and blue in the night sky.
That is exactly the thing we have seen.
Nobody has ever seen it.
Bull honkus! First of all, if they hadn't, how would you know about it? And B, yes I did.
But I know it's true. If you ever see it, you'll tell me, right?
Well, let's go and see it to prove to him that nobody hasn't never seen it. This table is in absolute disarray, by the way. Someone lost a shoe. They're still in last night's makeup. I'm waking up like, what's this new tattoo? There's a journalist's armband there. Yeah, okay. we're in the market for just carrying things with us. Well, we did see the journalist outside. By the way, I don't know what this room is. I assume it's a toilet, but there's no way of confirming it because we can't go in there. It existed solely to house Lovia when we first got here. But yes. I don't know if I can... Okay, I might come back to this telescope in a hot minute, but now we can finally do something with this because we know how to interact with it. Something glittering faintly in the distance. It's blinking red and blue, just as was foretold. That must be the lucky star you heard about. Tell the sweeping... Well, yes, he must know. He must discover the secrets. Tingle, that is not the face to use.
You found the lucky star. Out of the way.
Wait, it's your fault for making that face. Now, since I'm down here, can I just, like, sneak out and deliver this armband because, you know, I don't want to interrupt the whole Lucky Star thing, but we did just get this. It's stained with sweat and tears, but no blood and no other bodily secretions that we can tell. Good.
That's the armband I threw away. Oh, I wrote an article and falsely accused some upstanding citizens. I don't know who you are, but you say I should write again. Stop pitying me. Hey? You're Mr. Tingle. You're the one I wrote that article about. And yet, you tell me I should write. I am back!
Well, that was a pivot. By the by, there is a third sticker here, as you saw on the screen just then. That is like the final end of post-game thing, so we won't be getting that for a little while.
Now that you've forgiven me, I'm back on my feet. I'll start looking for the next scoop right away.
Goodbye, Mr. Tingle. I am so good at accent you don't even know. Anyway, let's head back upstairs because we have to deliver a boy to a star. Clearly your drink was very nice. Can I steal? It's a kid's meal. Oh, some grown-ups enjoy it too. We don't judge you, Tingle. I did recently have an apple cake McFlurry, which I think is a limited time thing. I've not seen the Minecraft film, but it's a tie-in with that. Surprisingly nice, and I'm not an ice cream guy. Anyway, child.
You're actually telling the truth.
Well, if you didn't believe me, why did you come upstairs?
A red and blue flashing star. No doubt about it. The lucky star. That's my wish.
Is that it? Do we not get any follow-up on that? It's just a thing in the sky with or without diamonds? Well, whatever, we got what we came for.
You're really good with children. Thanks.
There we go, the final cartridge. I thought I was missing one. SBL. Arguably the hardest one to get in terms of you need to complete page 13 before you're even eligible to get it, whereas, I mean, I would still say the one we got for the fishing was probably the hardest to get, but, yeah, because that requires the most work, but, you know, something glittering faintly in the distance. It's blinking red and blue. That must be the lucky star you heard about. Yes, we heard that part. I could swear that more happens with that, so bear with, I actually want to go and check.
I'm sure my wish will come true.
And that's all he has to say. I could swear that, like, true to his word, something actually does come down from the star? But apparently not. Apparently I'm just misremembering. Well, okay. I'm going to go to my next destination now, but I'll meet you back at the telescope for dumb reasons. So, for some reason, you can't access the backpack through the telescope on page 12, but you can on page 13. And I think I mentioned this last time, I just wanted to show what happens when you use the balloon when Tingle's not on screen, because this is like a really remote thing that can happen. Just that. It's not particularly special, I just wanted to show that the game does have a contingency for if you do something that requires that screen transition where Tingle isn't actually visible. So, anyway. At long, sweet bumpkus last, that is definitely not a sentence, it's time to get the second sticker on page 7! Because, well, I suppose... if... Yeah, I know, I can stand by saying that SBL is perhaps the hardest cartridge to get because it requires the most investment. But at the same time... So that's the hardest cartridge to get, but not the hardest sticker to get, because as you can imagine, there is a secret sticker for collecting all of the cartridges, which we have done, so that the time has come for us to turn them in. And of course, page 7 is the page where we can access them. It's been forever since we visited DunJon, so, may as well go and say hizzity hello, and they'll fully understand what we mean, because that's a normal thing to say. But before I do turn all of them in, I suppose it wouldn't not behove us to have a look at what the item description is for each one, because some of the abbreviations make sense, like EBL standing for Energy Black, but then not all of them actually give us that much information, so we've got Special Blue, which is the one we just got. We've got Gur, which is just regular green, from the Fishing Man, from collecting every fish. We've got Energy Black from Yamori, which was page 12? 11? Page 11, 12. One of them. BP. We don't know what the B stands for. It's, I guess, black and purple? That's the one we got for giving all of the demon coins to that disguised cactet on page 11. Orange, which we got from the bedwetter ladybird. Regular grey, which I believe we received from, The Chosen. Pink from Iona's mother for getting smile mandrakes. Dark grey just from speaking to Mushroom Lady on page 12. And then there's the other ones which I've already turned in. So now seems like a good time to not only turn them in and get rewarded for it, but also to show each one and actually have a bit of a discussion about how each one varies, which I'm going to need to record a load of footage for and then post-commentate, so just look forward to that in a moment. Anyway, done! Have various things. A life-sized Rupee Man figurine because I missed done when I was tapping the screen.
No way. Hey, John. Look at what this dude did. He found all the cartridges.
For real? Our cartridge collection is finally complete?
That's right. We didn't even have to do anything. And now, we've got all the cards. Dude, you are a real dungeon master.
Tingle strikes a pose and we get to see it for like less than a frame. Well, that's an exaggeration. But yeah, I did wonder if we needed to actually play all the dungeons. Nope, you just have to turn them in.
We've got all the cartridges. Pretty cool, huh?
Awesome to the max. Come and play our cartridges anytime.
Although, we do still have to pay for the privilege. So,
Thanks for visiting our shop.
to give like a brief overview before I go into speed up post-commentary mode, here's a breakdown of all of the dungeons. These are the normal difficulty ones. I will go into more detail in a moment, but you can select random and it'll just pick one at complete random, but yeah, we've got Ludicrous Labyrinth, which we started off with. This is the BP cartridge, Naughty Kid Secret of Goddamn Island. The grey cartridge, Kindergarten of War. The pink cartridge, Strawberry in Wonderland. The blue cartridge, which we got from Love Pushing the statue on page 2, Sushi Man Dun, which I've already shown. Rainbow Walker. The green cartridge from The Fishing. This one's a bit intense on the eyes, as I recall. And Mushroom Warrior, which is the dark grey one, which, again, I just went over. I haven't finished being here yet. Show me your hard ones. No. Thank you for specifying difficult. There are fewer of them. Orange Fortress. Super Dungeon Brothers. This one feels like the final boss most difficult one, which is... This is the special blue one. I figured this is probably why this is the last one you get. Paradise AKA, which I think is Energy Black. and then Izumi in the noise, which I've gone over in great detail already. So, yeah. That's all of the dungeons on the docket, so I guess we shall get started on ploudering through them. Ploudering is definitely a word. I'll start with the easy ones, work my way through them, and, well, post-commentary Tess, the rest is on you. Why, thank you, live commentary Tess, no pressure there whatsoever. So, what I'm about to show you is just a quick run-through of every single dungeon in the order that they're displayed on here, so from left to right in the easy ones, and then left to right on the hard ones, and just generally going through the notes that I have about them. I've been a little bit obsessive about this, I admit, because I want to believe that there is a unique selling point with each dungeon in this game, and my research has kind of proven to the contrary. So there are some dungeons that have repeat gimmicks, but Ludicrous Labyrinth, the first one, there is no cartridge associated with it. As you'll see at the top of the screen, I'm going to show on screen the thing. You can find text on every floor of the dungeon, and it'll say that on the top of the screen. So, with Ludicrous Labyrinth, it behaves differently when you're here to get the gas apple seeds, and then when you, if you choose to revisit it, then it's just an easy dungeon that becomes a little bit less easy on the final floor. So it loses its tutorial wings when you reach the final floor and kind of becomes a way of guiding you into what dungeons are typically like hereinafter. And you'll see me lingering by the door a little bit for several dungeons just because I'm waiting for the roulette to finish spinning just to get as many possible bonuses out of it. Anyway, Naughty Kids Secret of Goddamn Island on the BP cartridge. This one, the thing that's special about this one is there are only 2 floors, whereas a dungeon is usually 3 floors, and both of those floors are huge. They are, bar none, the biggest, they're the biggest equilateral floors. There is one exception, that there's another dungeon later on that has very large floors, but they're large in a different way, but yeah. Per the notes on the screen, I've noted which difficulty tier each dungeon is, the time limit for each one, the number of floors, the enemies per floor, and when I say coin units, I mean, when you pick up a coin, do you get 1, do you get 2, do you get 3, whatever. And I found that if you can find clocks as an item instead of coins, then maps will show up on the roulette as well, but I'm not 100% sure of that, because I had several dungeons where I was convinced that maps would not spawn whatsoever, but clocks did. But then when I was recording this, I got maps on those dungeons, so it feels like there are some dungeons where you physically cannot get a map no matter what you try. But as you can see, this one is not one of them. I have questions about the findable lore in this dungeon, the text you can see on the top of the screen. So that's fun. Anyway, the reason why this one's special and different is the floors are smaller and there are 4 enemies per floor instead of the usual 3, because easy dungeons typically have 3 enemies per floor, this one has 4, and the floors are smaller as well, so it feels a little bit more densely packed. And one thing that I've neglected to mention thus far, easy dungeons, it costs 30 rupees to enter and every coin is worth 40 rupees, whereas hard dungeons cost 50 rupees to enter and each coin is worth 100. Now, Strawberry In Wonderland, this is one of 3 dungeons that are identical, as far as I can tell, in that they don't have any special gimmick. They're all medium floors, they're all 3 floors deep, there's always 3 enemies per floor, the coins are always singles, you get 3 minutes, so I'm not sure what is meant to differentiate this from the 2 dungeons thereafter, because I want to believe that there is a reason for picking one dungeon over any other if you're just playing on your own time. I don't want to believe that they're just reskins of each other, and it could be that there's some difference that I'm just not noticing. I don't think the enemies move faster or slower in this dungeon compared to the next 2. Maybe there's something different about how the walls spawn, or something like that. I simply do not know. Sushi Man Dun, I've shown this one already when we got the cartridge. This was from Love Pushing the Statue on page 2. So, that's where we've seen this previously. The episode title was Distracted by the Sushi, because indeed we were. But yes, much like Strawberry in Wonderland, there is nothing particularly remarkable about this one in terms of the stats of the dungeon. It's, again, 3 enemies per floor, 5 items per floor, and that's another thing that I thought might be a variable, but isn't. Per floor, 5 items always spawn, whether that's 5 units of coins, or 4 coins and a clock, or whatever. And if you collect all of them, then a second wave of 5 will spawn on that floor, and if you collect all of those, then that's it. The only exception to that, I believe, is the tutorial dungeon, where there's just 1 wave of items, and that's your lot. But I made note of it in case that was a variable, and it's not a variable. Moving swiftly along to the green cartridge, Rainbow Walker, not as hard on the eyes as I was expecting. So, that's nice. Also, Michael Jackson-esque star enemies. They kind of moonwalk, they go sideways and backwards, but, like, they still behave like any other enemy, you know, they can still only move in one direction unless they turn around. They can't just, like, you know, like that. That's just its regular, like it walks sideways like crab walk style, but that's just its animation. It's not programmed any differently from the enemies in the other two dungeons that are exactly the same stats-wise, so this perplexes me. If you have any insight whatsoever, drop a comment. I would be fascinated to see what differentiates this from the two dungeons that I've just shown, because all of the others have some differentiating factor, and it irks me that I can't identify what's going on here, because I thought one of these you couldn't get a map, but then it turns out you can. Hey, I don't know. Moving on, though, to the next dungeon that does have a unique selling point, Mushroom Warrior. Let's not read too much into the implications of this one aesthetically. The thing that demarcates this as different is there are 5 enemies on each floor instead of the usual 3, and, that's about it. I quite like the music here because, like, the graphic of the cartridge suggests, like, ooh, aggressive, monstrous invasion, nonsense time town pants. And then you get in here, and it's pretty to look at. Okay, there's a slightly druggy theme, but we don't know anything about these drugs, really. And the music is, like, I would have expected more bass or something more aggressive, but no, it's just this fun, floaty little waltz. And I don't know if we've got to this point so far, but after, because I recorded all of these back to back to back to back to back, after a certain point, I did just give up on getting every single coin on every single floor, because that's the core gameplay element of these dungeons is managing, like, do I have enough time to navigate to the remaining coins? You know, there is no shame in going, you know what, actually, I should cut my losses and go now. Anyway, first of the hard dungeons, Izumi in the Noise. I have sung its praises to high heaven already because it is the Billy Basicest of hard dungeons in that it's the standard 3 floors, 5 enemies per floor. That's normal for a hard dungeon. And every coin that you get is worth 2 coins. Occasionally you can get 1 additional extra coin on the roulette, or sometimes 2, I think. As far as I can tell, you cannot get a map for this dungeon, ever. I have I've done this dungeon a lot for grinding purposes. It's my favourite one to grind on, which is awkward because it's very difficult to see. But it pays well, and you can't get any time refills. Maybe on the roulette, I don't think so, but yeah, there's no clocks that spawn naturally in the dungeon, and there's no map. So, in my mind, it's the quintessential hard tier dungeon. I thought I'd have more to say about it, but I don't. Maybe the low visibility is also a gimmick. Anyway, Paradise AKA, this is a fascinating one. This is the Energy Black cartridge. There are 4 enemies on the first floor, but 5 on floors 2 and 3, and on floor 1, it's all triples. Floor 3, I think it's either all triples or triples and doubles, and floor 2, it's all doubles. And the reason why is, as you can see, the first floor is small in size, the second floor is medium, and then the third floor is large. I forget if it's exactly the same size as the floors of Naughty Kid's Secret of Goddamn Island, but it's up there. And I don't know, I like the gimmick there of, like, oh, there's this comparison to Mount Fuji, and, like, oh, well, if you're climbing a mountain, it will get harder. Although, well, I don't know. Because, like, first floor small, last one large, that implies an inverted pyramid shape, but then, because it's floor B1, B2, B3, we're going down, so we're starting at the top of the pyramid and working our way downwards, so mountain shape, I don't know, there's symbolism in there somewhere. Anyway, I feel like 5 minutes is the norm for the hard cartridges, but Izumi in the Noise and the next one are 5 minutes, and Paradise AKA and Super Dungeon Brothers are 6 minutes, so I guess there is no canonical, like, this is the norm for a hard cartridge, because it's kind of split 2 ways. But Orange Fortress, the big gimmick here is that there are 5 floors rather than the standard 3. There's 5 enemies per floor, which is normal for a hard dungeon, but definitely pay attention to the fact that there are 5 floors to this dungeon, because if you're going into it, like, not really thinking, like, oh, I'll just pop in a dungeon really quick and just grind up some money right quick, fast, have a good, happy time, and then you get to the end of floor 3 with, like, 10 seconds left on the clock, and you're like, wait, I still need to do 2 more floors, so definitely manage your time, because the size of this dungeon can catch you unawares if you're not careful. But visually, it's fun, it's got an interesting theme, it's easy on the eyes, especially compared to Izumi and the noise. There was a lot of bounce to the way I said that. Anyway, I'm still not sure if there is an actual method to, when you encounter an enemy. I don't know if it is random chance. I feel like it is. I don't think there's a tell. It's just rock, paper, scissors. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. There's no real way of influencing it that I'm aware of. If I had better advice, I would give it here. But I was also expecting to have to do more dungeon crawling in this LP than I actually did. I mean, sure, I did do a bunch off-screen fairly early on just to make sure we never ran out of rupees, but I remember rupees being more of a struggle than they were when I played this game for myself on my own free time, but then that's because I didn't have a walkthrough to hand to tell me which gifts to give which girls, so I guess rupees would have been more of a concern. Anyway, Super Dungeon Brothers, the final boss of the you don't get any reward for beating it over and above what you'd otherwise get for completing a dungeon. It's just, the floors are huge, but like oblong huge, rather than like square huge. Coins come in doubles and triples. There are 7 enemies on each floor. There are 3 floors, you get 6 minutes, and as far as I'm aware, you can't get a map. And also, on this run that I'm showing, I wasn't able to reach the lore text on the 3rd floor, but I did a separate run that I recorded, but I'm not going to include in this episode because it was just me running down to the 3rd floor of getting the text and then quitting without saving. So that's how I know that business hours are from 9 AM to 3 PM. Be not fooled, this is a surprisingly difficult dungeon, as you can kind of tell by me getting near the knuckle, that's not the right expression, almost running out of time. Well, anyway, that's a brief overview of all of the dungeons in this game, apart from the tutorial one, which you will have seen in real time way back when. Yeah, so we've basically doubled our money, just better than, by doing each dungeon once, and yeah. I have been, will continue to be, Tessellating Hexagons, and in the next episode of Ripened Tingle's Balloon Trip of Love, I guess we'll head to page 12 and do page 12 stuff. It's a bit of a time. We're going to be in it for the long haul. You wouldn't expect it to take a whole episode, but I'm quietly confident that it will. See you then, for that.